movie was kind of different from what I was expecting, because from the title and the trailers I was expecting kind of explosions and action set pieces, but it's actually quite quiet, or kind of a slow burn.
Yeah.
And it also, there seems to be three kind of stages. So we've got the woods, the road, and then the prison. Was that deliberate to have those three?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, the war, we start in the war, but the war that is the most important war is the war within Caesar, because Caesar is an incredibly empathic character. That's actually been his strength. He's this bridge between the two species. He's sort of human and ape, but neither, because he was brought up by humans, but he's not a human, and he wasn't brought up by apes, but he is an ape. And so he was the hope for peace that didn't work out. And in this story, the extremes of war push him to a place where he loses his empathy. And so you look at this sort of fight for his soul, and it becomes like a biblical epic. So the movie starts in a battle, and then it evolves into a kind of sort of almost like Apocalypse Now movement up the river, which is really crossing the California landscape up into the Sierras, and looking for the soldiers and then finding them at that camp. And then it becomes almost like Bridge on the River Kwai, and then also, which is another Pierre Boulle story, and a little bit like, I would say, The Great Escape.
Mm. And so the War for the Planet of the Apes, it's Caesar's legacy, basically. He's deciding what kind of Planet of the Apes it's going to be.
It's you know what it is that he has to pass this test to become, I wanted the film to sort of move into the realm of the mythic. I wanted him to become the legend so that future generations of apes could look back at this period in history and see him as the reason that they were there, that he would be almost like an ape Moses. And so, yeah, that is the big challenge for him. He could go the way of Koba and lose the ability to empathize altogether and sort of be consumed and destroyed. Or he can transcend and become this mythic figure, and that's what this story's about.
And we heard last year that there was a fourth movie in development, but this movie seems to wrap up the story quite well.
What it does is it takes you through that Caesar cycle, but the continuation of the story, I mean, one of the things that we were really careful to set up was this notion that Bad Ape was a sign that there are other apes out there. And how will Caesar's apes sort of interact with future societies that might be elsewhere that didn't have the benefit of Caesar's leadership? Mm-hmm. And so, the world of this movie still doesn't look like the world of the '68 movie. Caesar's apes are not the same as the apes in that movie, and so the idea is that we're kind of telling these giant epic sort of almost like chapter after chapter of a Russian ape novel. This is like Tolstoy of the Apes. How do we get to that '68 movie? So we think there's a lot more stories.
Oh, great. Yeah. And just as a final question, do you think there's value in remaking the original?
No, I don't think there'd ever be a reason to remake the original. I think the idea is to tell all of the stories that take you there. And then there might be an entry point that's a different story that's around that resonates around that same time, but you'd never want to remake that movie.